So in question 3, we're given that tan theta is 12 on 5 and that the cos theta is less than 0. Now, what is sin theta? First of all, you might want to review what's the definition of tan, sin, and cos. So if there's a triangle like this, right, and this is theta, and I name this A, I name this B, and I name this C, sin theta is simply the front divided by this longest side. I call it the hypotenuse. So it's A divided by C. Cos is the other side other than the A divided by the hypotenuse. So it's B on C. And tan theta is the front divided by the other side that is not the hypotenuse. So A on B. So now, since we know that in this question the tan theta is 12 on 5, then you can clearly see that A is 12, B is 5, A is 12, B is 5. So you can easily find C using the Pythagoras, right? Let me just write the Pythagoras rule. A square plus B square sorry for the spelling. A square plus B square is equal to C square. So it's always the two sides that are not hypotenuse. So the A square plus the B square, it has to make the hypotenuse squared. So A square plus B square is C square. So therefore C is simply the square root of A square plus B square, which is the square root of 12 square, because A is 12, B is 5, so 5 square, which is the square root of 169, which is 13. So now we know what C is, right? We know A, we know B, we know C. Now it's asking for sine. What is the sine? Okay, first let's define. Sine theta is, based on our definition, it's A on C. A on C. It's front divided by the hypotenuse. So A is 12 and C is 13. So it's 12 on 13. Now if you just look at the multiple choice, the options A, B, C, D, you can clearly see that B is the only option that has 12 on 13. But then you might want to ask, why is it negative there? Okay, so now I'm gonna explain something called the quadrant rule. So let's write the x's first. It's always start from 0 and then 90 here and then 180 here and 270 here. So you just add by 90, 90, 90, 90, because you know this is 90-degree angle, right? So like from here to here you add 90 and then add 90, add 90, add 90. Alrighty. Now the rule is that in this first quadrant, I'll call this quadrant 1, 2, 3, 4. In the first quadrant, all sine and cos, so all sine, cos and tan have positive value. So like sine 75. Why 75? Because 75 is between 0 and 90, right? Will be greater than 0. Cos 75 is greater than 0. Tan, maybe 80 is definitely greater than 0. So any value that is between 0 and 90, sine 75, cos 75, tan 80, they're all greater than 0. For quadrant 2, only sine that is positive. In quadrant 3, only tan that is positive. And in quadrant 4, only sine tan cos that is positive. Okay, only cos that is positive. Okay, so we've established that. So for example, right here, if it's like sine, what's a value? Let's pick a value between 90 and 180, maybe like 95. Sine 95 is greater than 0, but cos 95 is definitely less than 0. You can put it in the calculator, you can check it, and it's negative. Tan 95 is also less than 0. You can apply this to the other quadrant, right? Now, in this question, it says that tan theta is equal to 12 on 5 and cos theta is less than 0. Okay, so we definitely know that it's not in the first quadrant, right? Because cos theta is already less than 0, so it doesn't fulfill this requirement that cos has to be greater than 0, like everything has to be greater than 0. We know that tan theta is positive, so if it is not in the first quadrant, it's definitely in the third quadrant, because in the third quadrant the requirement is that only tan is positive. Here tan is negative, here tan is negative, only here and here tan is positive, right? But we know that it's not here, so it's definitely here. So since it's in the third quadrant, since only tan is positive, the sign is definitely less than 0. So the sign that we got before, this thing here, should be negative 12 on 13. That's where we got the negative sign.